The Velvet Corner Cafe is located in the heart of the city, an area known for its towering skyscrapers, luxury shops, and always busy streets. Known as an ideal place for those who appreciate elegance and class, this cafe attracts the city's elite, those who are willing to spend significant amounts on high-quality coffee and meticulously crafted dishes. The Velvet Corner has become an essential part of the luxurious lifestyle of the city's wealthy. The cafe's interior is designed in a classic style with sleek black wooden tables neatly arranged under warm yellow lighting. The furniture is carefully selected to create a space that is both sophisticated and cozy. Every corner of the cafe is meticulously tended to, with soft leather chairs, artistic paintings on the walls, and fresh flowers that are replaced daily. Conversations between patrons blend, forming a soothing hum, yet without losing its vibrant energy. The sound of clinking cups and whispers from ongoing conversations resemble waves that gently soothe the souls of those who come to this cafe to unwind. In the morning, as sunlight streams through the windows, the cafe becomes livelier than ever. Regular customers accustomed to their daily routine take their usual spots at the tables. However, the atmosphere in the cafe today feels slightly different. It is when Alexander Crane and his wife Charlotte step in. Alexander Crane, a man in his 50s, is the founder of Crane Enterprises, one of the largest and most successful real estate companies in the city. With his decisiveness and sharp business acumen, he has built a formidable empire from scratch. Alexander's name is synonymous with wealth and power. He is admired within the business world, and many regard him as the ideal model of success. His outward appearance reflects this success. He is always dressed in expensive suits with neatly combed hair and sharp eyes. Every time he enters a meeting room, his presence is immediately recognized, as if every gaze in the room is drawn to him. But behind this perfect exterior lies a soul filled with loneliness and emptiness. Despite having everything one could want, fame, money, and power, Alexander lacks the most important thing: love and warmth from the relationships around him. Every connection he has is transactional. No one truly cares about him as a person. Looking at the achievements Alexander has amassed, one might think he is a happy man. Yet in reality, he feels increasingly isolated in his own life. Long evenings spent working and meetings that lack warmth have gradually made him feel a growing distance between himself and the people around him. He has everything, but it is precisely because he has everything that he feels he is lacking. Charlotte Crane, Alexander's wife, is a beautiful and captivating woman, someone who commands attention whenever she enters a room. She is the perfect model that the media praises for her flawless appearance, a symbol of beauty and elegance. Charlotte possesses long, silky hair, smooth skin, and a smile that always makes those around her feel warm. She is an icon of physical perfection and lifestyle, frequently appearing in high-end fashion magazines and attending elite events. However, behind the beauty and luxurious life lies a soul that feels dissatisfied and empty. Charlotte always feels trapped in a marriage without real love. Although Alexander provides her with everything material, from expensive gifts to lavish trips, she cannot find joy in life. The coldness and lack of connection in her relationship with Alexander have made Charlotte feel increasingly lonely. Despite living in a world full of glamour, she still feels emotionally neglected and deprived of genuine care. Charlotte slowly realizes that while she may have everything others dream of, it does not fill the emptiness in her heart. She gradually loses faith in this marriage and begins to feel that she is living a fake life. Conversations with Alexander have become fewer, and when they do talk, she is often absorbed in her phone or thinking about other things, not paying attention to her husband. Her relationships outside the marriage don't make her feel any better. Instead, they only increase her dissatisfaction. When Charlotte sits opposite Alexander in the cafe today, she no longer feels any connection with him. Their relationship has become nothing more than empty spaces that cannot be filled with expensive gifts or the success Alexander brings out. Charlotte has started to feel disheartened, and the question of whether she can continue living in such a marriage constantly lingers in her mind. The Velvet Corner Cafe is enveloped in the warm atmosphere of the morning. The golden light from the chandeliers reflects off the glossy wooden tables. The whispers of conversations blend with the sound of clinking cups, creating a calm atmosphere that is still bustling with life. Alexander and Charlotte sit opposite each other at the cafe's main table. The soft leather chairs and sleek wooden tables seem to be unable to bridge the distance between them. Charlotte, with her phone in hand, scrolls through social media, her gaze never leaving the screen. She is completely uninterested in the man sitting across from her, even though he is the one she calls her husband. Alexander is sitting silently with a weary look, glances over the menu without focusing. He is staring down at the table, his eyes empty as if searching for something in his life that he cannot find. Their relationship has long been strained. Alexander feels as if he is living in a marriage devoid of love, while Charlotte feels trapped in a relationship that lacks any true connection. Although they are together, each of them lives in their world. On mornings like this, they are two strangers sitting across from each other without a word spoken or any real communication. While the atmosphere in the cafe seems to be suspended by the coldness between Alexander and Charlotte, a young boy appears outside the cafe window. He is about 14 years old with a gaunt face, messy hair, and wearing an old worn-out jacket and torn shoes. His eyes glimmer with curiosity, but also hold a deep sadness. He stands outside peering into the cafe through the glass, his eyes fixed on the meals being enjoyed by the patrons inside. The plates are piled high with food, and the aroma of freshly brewed coffee and pastries fills the air, making the boy's stomach ache with hunger. This is Tommy, a homeless boy who wanders the streets with no place to call home. He has no family to take care of him, and each day is a struggle for survival. Yet here he is standing outside the cafe, gazing longingly at the warm meals being enjoyed by others. Despite the longing in his eyes, he doesn't dare to step inside. The large door of the cafe seems like an invisible barrier, separating him from a world he can only dream of entering. Tommy is a homeless boy wandering the streets with no place to go and no family to protect him. Each day he survives by finding temporary jobs, or sometimes just by receiving meals from the kindness of strangers. But today he finds himself standing outside this cafe hoping to get a meal from the patrons inside. However, he doesn't dare to enter. The cafe's large door seems like an invisible wall that separates him from the world inside, where people with money and stability sit and enjoy fine food. Tommy stands quietly looking in through the glass, his eyes sparkling with hunger. He feels like an outsider peering into a world he cannot enter. He hopes that someone will notice him, perhaps offer him some food, or at the very least say a kind word. But deep down, Tommy knows the chances of that happening are slim. At this moment, as Alexander and Charlotte remain silent across from each other, another story unfolds outside the cafe one. They are completely unaware of me. The stranger with a heart full of longing and dreams is standing outside looking at a life he can only dream of, but dares not step into. A 14-year-old boy is wandering through the city's streets when his gaze stops at a crowded cafe. He stands outside the large glass window, drawn in by the cozy atmosphere inside. It's a familiar sight. People sipping drinks, chatting gently, and enjoying the peaceful morning. But as his eyes land on a pool inside, he suddenly notices something unusual. At a corner table, a man and a woman are sitting across from each other, silently but clearly together. The woman, Charlotte, is hunched over her phone, typing quickly, while the man, Alexander, seems distracted, staring at his coffee cup. Tommy doesn't know who they are, but the atmosphere between them feels strange. Their relationship seems tense. Tommy stands there, eyes fixed on their table, and then he notices a strange action. Charlotte, still not looking up from her phone, discreetly takes a small vial from her purse. She twists the cap and carefully pours a strange substance into Alexander's coffee cup without him noticing. Tommy's heart races. He can't tell exactly what it is, but he has a feeling in his gut that something is wrong. This action doesn't feel like a coincidence, it seems deliberate. Tommy senses the abnormality and suspicion starts to rise within him. He isn't sure what she's doing, but something inside tells him that Charlotte might be trying to harm her husband. Could she be planning something dangerous? This thought makes Tommy anxious. The conflict within the boy begins to swell. He stands frozen, unsure of what to do. He could quietly walk away and forget everything, or he could warn someone, but he can't let an innocent person be harmed without doing anything. Fear and confusion flood his mind. He cannot ignore what he has just witnessed, but his next move will have consequences he cannot foresee. Tommy's heart pounds as he stands there feeling overwhelmed and anxious. He doesn't know if he can trust his instincts, but a part of him knows he can't just stand by and do nothing. He has to act. Tommy stands outside the cafe, his small figure reflected in the shiny glass. The confusion within him grows stronger, like a wave he cannot stop. He has been watching the conversation between Alexander and Charlotte from outside, clearly seeing Charlotte's actions. What he has witnessed makes it impossible for him to ignore. A feeling rises within him, compelling him to take action. Entering the cafe, Tommy passes by the tables where patrons are relaxing and walks toward Alexander and Charlotte's table. The atmosphere around him seems to grow quieter than ever, as if everything has stopped in that moment. He stands facing them without hesitation, his eyes fixed on Charlotte, and then he speaks with conviction. "Don't drink it." Tommy's voice echoes in the cafe, strong and clear enough to freeze the air. All eyes in the cafe turn toward him. People exchange glances, confused and unsure of what's happening. But it's clear that something unusual is taking place. Alexander and Charlotte look at Tommy, bewildered and full of questions. They have never seen this boy before and don't understand why he would interfere in their private lives. Charlotte, still unsure of what's happening, stands up angrily, her face flushed with irritation. "What is this boy saying? What are you doing here?" She snaps, her voice full of discomfort. Though she is a bit confused, her anger overpowers all other emotions. She cannot understand why a child would show up and say such things. Alexander is also confused. He looks at the boy, then turns to his wife, his expression one of doubt and concern. "What have you done?" he asks, still holding his coffee cup, not understanding why this child would intervene in their private affairs. To Alexander, Tommy is just a homeless child who has no right to interfere in adult matters. But Tommy's gaze, unwavering and fearless, makes Alexander feel like something is wrong, despite the curious stares from the surrounding patrons. Tommy stands firm. He holds his ground, his eyes never leaving Charlotte, as if trying to look into the secrets hidden within her. "I saw her put something in your cup. Don't drink it," Tommy says with determination. The atmosphere in the cafe becomes tense, as if an invisible curtain has descended upon everyone. Whispers start to spread among the customers, but no one dares to speak up. All eyes are now focused on the three of them. Alexander, though still calm on the outside, cannot hide the growing suspicion and worry in his eyes. He looks at Tommy, then back at his wife, trying to make sense of the boy's actions. The anxiety in Alexander's heart begins to intensify. He cannot deny that there is something very strange about Charlotte's actions, but is this boy telling the truth? Reason and emotion are clashing inside him, leaving him unsure of what to believe. The tension in the cafe continues to rise, as if everyone is waiting for a revelation. The wave of anxiety inside Charlotte grows stronger. She can't hide it any longer, and finally the truth comes out. Charlotte sighs, her hands trembling as she places them on the table. "I did it," she admits, her voice choked with emotion. She can't hold it in anymore, the words getting stuck in her throat. "I've been under too much pressure. I tried, but I can't love him anymore. Everything is just exhausting, and I can't take it anymore." Charlotte's words come as a heavy shock to Alexander. She admits everything, but it's not what he wanted to hear. The emotions that have been building up inside him suddenly overflow like a rushing river. "I can't feel anything anymore," she continues. "I don't love him. I'm just drained from everything around me." Alexander stood frozen, unable to believe what he had just heard. His eyes widened as he looked at Charlotte, filled with disappointment and pain. The marriage he had carefully maintained and tried to build over the years now crumbled in an instant. He looked at his wife, but he could no longer find any connection. Her confession hit him like a heavy blow, shattering all the hope he had nurtured within himself. He struggled to understand within himself, but all he felt was emptiness. He could hardly believe that he was facing this truth, the truth that the love he had for his wife was no longer reciprocated. The memories of happier times now became painful wounds that could never be erased. At that moment, Alexander realized that his life would never be the same again, and change was inevitable. Tommy stood silently in the cafe's stillness, his gaze steady, showing no fear, despite the attention of everyone around him. The boy, though young, felt his strength in that moment. With his hands clenched, Tommy spoke resolutely. "I just want to help. I don't want anyone to suffer anymore." Tommy's words rang out like a declaration of defiance against the injustices and indifference he had witnessed throughout his short life. He didn't need to be an adult to recognize what was wrong. His mind and heart had decided that this was the moment he could no longer stand by and do nothing. Alexander stood there speechless, his eyes still wide in surprise and confusion. He could sense the worry and sincerity in Tommy's words. A part of him didn't want to believe he was in any real danger, but another part of him understood that it was this boy who had saved his life. Despite Tommy being young and living a tough life, his actions today showed courage and kindness that not everyone possesses. "Thank you, really, thank you," Alexander said softly, his voice full of emotion. He couldn't say more as his words of gratitude contained all the appreciation he could express. This homeless boy had made him realize that power and money don't always protect us from harm. As the situation began to clear up and the truth came to light, Tommy felt a sense of relief. He didn't need anything more than the peace of knowing he had done the right thing. He didn't seek recognition or thanks. The boy just needed to know that he had stood up when it mattered and helped someone in danger. Tommy turned and walked out of the cafe without saying another word. The whispers of the patrons inside still echoed around him, but for him, it was just a part of the world he had once lived in. He had walked through dark streets and endured times of deprivation, but today he had done something bigger than himself, and that was all he needed. Alexander stood still, watching Tommy leave. The feeling of gratitude inside him still lingered, but at that moment he realized that his life would never be the same again. He could no longer chase money, power, and the superficial things he had pursued for so many years. Watching Tommy's figure disappear, Alexander felt a shift inside. He realized that even though he had everything people considered a success, wealth, power, admiration, those things had never brought him fulfillment. All that wealth meant nothing without courage, integrity, and acts of kindness. It was Tommy, a homeless child, who had shown him that sometimes small, genuine acts can change a person's entire life. Alexander decided he would change his life, not because he realized he was wrong, but because he understood that the true values, love, courage, and sharing are the most important things. He would no longer let his life be ruled by goals that didn't truly bring happiness. He would dedicate time to rebuilding meaningful relationships, not for personal gain, but for real connections between people. The story ends with a powerful message about courage and change. Tommy, a homeless boy with nothing but a kind heart and determination to do what's right, changed the life of a wealthy man. Courageous actions don't come from social status or wealth. They come from doing what's right and standing up for what's good, no matter the circumstances. This story reminds us that it's not those with power who can change the world, but often ordinary people, sometimes even those who are nameless, who can make a huge difference. Small actions, while seemingly insignificant to others, can change a person's life entirely. This story is a reminder of the power of small acts and the right decisions in life. Tommy not only saved Alexander's life, but he also opened a new chapter in Alexander's life, one where power is no longer the most important thing. It's values like courage, honesty, and humanity that truly define the change in each person's life. Thank you for taking the time to follow our story. Every story carries a profound and meaningful message, and we are so glad to share it with you. We hope today's story has given you reflections on courage, change, and the values in life. If you enjoy inspiring stories like this, don't forget to hit the subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss any of our new videos. We will continue bringing interesting and meaningful content for us to explore, learn, and share. Please share this video with your friends and loved ones so we can spread these positive messages to more people. Once again, thank you so much for your support and love. We hope to continue to accompany you in the next stories. See you in the next video.